I'm from Phoenix. Together yeah, she's not here. It's not going to work. The, today's video that I'm going to talk about how we managed to find the best tickets for us. There's been hundreds, if not thousands, of videos churned out on how to get the best deals on tickets. And a lot of it just comes down to personal preference. And so I'm going to show you the way that we found and we prefer to search for tickets. The biggest thing I've kind of found out on this is if you fly at the airline's convenience, you get a pretty good price on tickets. If you fly at your convenience, the airline gets a good price out of you. And that's the biggest thing that seems to work with us. We're able to plan several months out. That last year, we went to the Philippines in May, and we actually bought tickets the previous September, and we got a pair of round trip tickets in the ballpark of 650, 680, and we got a pair of tickets for about the price that most people normally pay for one. And when I went to search for tickets again, I kind of found out you stay 8 months out or so, you can get fairly decent flights and fairly decent tickets. When we went again in January, we didn't know we were going until the bitter end of December, so we were less than a month away. And we actually had a lot of difficulty finding decent flights, especially since I planned on staying a little bit longer than her. We actually wound up having to book a flight from Phoenix to LA on Southwest, and then book a flight from LA direct to Manila on PAL, Philippine Airlines, because we were having such a hard time finding a one-way ticket for me and a round trip for her. And we didn't do too awful badly. That PAL ticket really doesn't change, go up or down. And the Southwest flight, that they're pretty dirt cheap, but it's a cattle car airline, and it's not a great. I wouldn't do it again. Let me put it that way. I didn't have a problem with PAL. I just had a problem with Southwest. Wasn't terribly happy with them. And like I say, we paid pretty heavy. When I came back on short notice, that I paid pretty dearly for that one-way ticket. We were looking to go again in July, and again, we paid pretty heavy on those tickets. But again, we were flying at the airline's convenience because we gave them such short notice. I managed to find a ticket for 663, which isn't terribly bad, but it's not the greatest price. And the biggest disadvantage to what I had to do, like I say, is I had to fly from Phoenix to San Francisco to Honolulu to Guam, then land in Manila. It's a fairly long flight. You're changing planes, what, 4 times? It's not a great flight, but it's a good price. And surprisingly, the flight wasn't that terribly, none of the flights were that terribly booked either. I was able to find seats and all that good stuff without too much of a problem. Cindy, on the other hand, was fairly limited on the days she could go and when she had to be back. And because of that, we managed to find a ticket for her, but it was 1345.43. If you do the math, that's actually my ticket doubled would be 1327, and there that she paid 1817 over double what I paid for my ticket. But she flies from Phoenix to Denver to Nardia to Manila. And so it drops one flight, and her flight times are actually pretty good. That she gets there, it's flying United ANA, which is our airline of choice. When we go to book tickets and search tickets, The best way I found to search for them is just to go straight to Google Flights. Just type in Google Flights in your browser. And it should come up the first search key. The other cool thing you can do on this, you can search for round trip, multi-city, one way. You can book as many passengers as you want, children, infants, all that good rot. You can do anything that you can do on the other kayak, orbits, cheapo air, all those sites. And you're getting back the same basic results that I've tried each one of them and haven't found anything significantly different between them. The thing I like on this is you can actually track prices. I'm going in February to renew my green card, or to renew my 13A visa, that I've got to pay the check-in fee, the annual check-in fee. And so I had to go on sometime in the first 60 calendar days, which January, February. Her and I talked about it, and leaving on January or February 5th would be the best deal, the best for us. And I'm actually going to stay until April 7th. Probably the 8th for a couple reasons. You can book, or you can track what prices are doing in that time frame. Right now, the lowest price of any airline for those days is staying right at $672. When you go to search the days, you can pull up a date grid that actually gives you prices. I'm probably going to stay to the 8th just because there's a little bit better price on that day. And again, you can adjust these however you want. It takes a second to load. My internet's being slow today. And again, they've got that San Francisco, Honolulu, Guam for $664. People don't like flying that route for some silly reason. They do have a United ANA for $679 that would match my friend's flight. And this is where you actually can be a little bit picky. Again, you've got a return flight by that Guam Honolulu route, Honolulu LA route, and that flight, yeah, not good. You get a 2.5 hour layover in Guam, which isn't too bad because you actually go through customs here in Guam because it's U.S. territory. You're still back. You arrive back in the U.S. technically at Guam. The EVA United flight isn't too bad. It's only a 21-hour flight. You've only got the 2 stops in Taipei and then San Francisco. You do have a 3.5 hour layover in Taipei, and only an hour and a half in San Francisco where you go through customs. So that may not be ideal, but I don't see it being that big of a problem. Normally we don't have too bad of an issue coming through customs. And for only an $8 difference, yeah, I'd probably go with leaving at 4 a.m. That'd be the biggest drawback, is you leave at 4 a.m. And so that puts you getting at the airport midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning to check in. Now this one is actually our preferred United ANA. And that leaves at 9:30 in the morning, which isn't too bad. Gets back at 3 p.m. the same day. You've got 2 stops in Nardi and LAX. which is really nice. It's got a really short flight time, just a hair longer than the Eva flight, but it's 8:31. I'm not sure it's worth a $200 price difference, or nearly a $200 price difference. And about 150 bucks price difference. But that's something with it, and I'd have to sit there and debate and talk with Cindy over whether or not we could justify it. You got a 2 hour layover at Nardia. That's not too bad. I've been through there. That's you can do that easy. And then you've got a 3 hour and 40 minute layover in LA. Not terribly excited about that. You're going through customs, so it's not really that big of a deal. And then you got an hour and a half flight back to Phoenix. Get in at 4 o'clock. That's not too bad. I'd have to talk with her and debate whether or not it would be worth the extra 150 bucks to take that flight. Now, I have checked out a couple of flights. I'm monitoring the flight for the United ANA or EVA, coming back on EVA. And I actually am monitoring that. Hopefully it's going to go down a little bit. That when you monitor these flights, it'll track what the prices have done, so you can see whether or not you're actually getting it. And this is actually a pretty cool thing. I like this. Hopefully these flights will go down. Hopefully the better flights will go down before it's time to go. That a friend of mine is going with me, and so we're trying to match. Because that's the other thing we found too, is that when Cindy and I tried to book that flight in January, we could not get matching flights. And the couple that we could get matching flights going with different flights coming back were horribly expensive. One ticket or the other was horribly expensive. Again, booking this far out, my buddy and I were able to find matching flights going with different return dates, so that him and I can fly out as seatmates, and then we can each come back on the day we choose to. But that's how we managed to find our flights and get what we feel is going to be the best deal. This may work great for you. It may not work at all. It's at least worth something exploring and possibly looking into. So I hope this helps everybody. But mabuhay.